I've been using the OnePlus 12 for a week, and here is my review of this phone. I got 8 categories, and I'm going to rank each category from 1 to 5. By the end of the video, I'm going to give you a full letter grade in terms of where this phone stands. So first category on the list is cool factor and design. I give this a 4 out of 5. I think the design is pretty bland and boring, to be honest. It doesn't bend, it doesn't fold, doesn't do anything fancy or anything like that. But it's just the same design that we have seen over the last few years. It looks similar to the other OnePluses. If you glance at it, it doesn't really stand out. So it doesn't really wow you or anything like that, but I do like the fact that the alert slider is returning. For some reason, they got rid of it in the OnePlus 10T, but it's nice to see that's making a return here. And it's overall pretty big phone, 6.8 inch, about the same size as the Galaxy S24 Ultra at the $800 price. So nice bargain there. You save $500 and you get the same size big phone. I do find that the alert slider is actually pretty useful. If I'm listening to music and my baby's sleeping, I can just quickly flick it up and then everything turns off, the volume, the music. That's pretty convenient. And then I can just adjust the music up as needed, compared to me just silencing my phone in other phones like Samsung. If I just pull down a notification shade and then I hit the mute button, the media is still playing in the background. So like how a silent toggle actually silent everything at once, and then you can adjust afterwards as needed. Next on the list is battery. I give this phone a 5 out of 5. The battery is actually really good. Over the first few days of using it, I get roughly 20 hours of battery life on light to moderate usage. With heavier usage, I get about 6.5 hours of screen on time. You can probably squeeze more out of it depending on how you use the phone. I personally don't sit there and watch YouTube videos for 8 to 10 hours straight, so I'm never gonna get 8 hours of screen on time. So I'm still pretty pleased to get the 6.5 hours of screen on time, playing games, watching YouTube, podcasts. And the battery life of this phone is so good that I hardly ever need to use the wired charging. I just leave my phone as is overnight and I wake up the next day and use it normally. Was so excited to record this video, forgot to plug in my mic. And during the first few segments when I wasn't using a mic, I had music playing in the background. Hopefully YouTube doesn't detect that and demonetize me. But it is what it is. Show will go on. So anyway, so just in terms of battery life, whenever I use this phone overnight, I don't even need to charge it in the morning. I just pick it up and use it normally. And throughout the day when I'm working from home, I just have it sit on my wireless charger. Depending on how I use my phone, when I charge my phone, just in general, I'm always between 20 to 80%. I'm never at 0%. I'm never at 100%. And it's kind of a nice feeling to not even think about charging the phone. It's nice to have a phone that's reliable from the time you wake up in the morning to the time you go to bed. You don't have to worry about being stuck to a wire, and you can use this phone freely. If you need to charge it, whether you have to go outside or do anything important, you can just plug it in the 80 watt fast charging or 100 watt depending on where you live and what charging brick you have. So by the time you go shower, grab something to eat, come back, the phone is already at 80 to 100%. It charges so fast, and that is way better than what Samsung has to offer today. Not to mention the charging brick is included in the box. Battery 5 out of 5 just in terms of performance and the additional features that come with it for fast charging and the brick included. Customization, I give this phone a 4.5 out of 5. There's no AI nonsense on this phone. It's just pure hardware specs. For $800 pound to pound, it is crushing the base Galaxy S24, and most of the comparison you see is actually going toe to toe with Samsung's Galaxy S24 Ultra, which costs $500 more, and it makes this phone even more appealing just due to the pure value alone. You get 4500 nits peak brightness, so if you're using this phone outside, not going to have any trouble seeing it in the sun or anything like that. Not like I had trouble seeing other phones in the sun at 1700 or 1400 nits in the past, but it's nice to have that extra pure number whenever you do need it. You're walking around, hiking, go on vacation, the sun is beaming, you know this phone's going to come through. The fingerprint scanner is pretty fast as well. OnePlus have always had great fingerprint scanner. This year they added Aqua Touch, so you're using your phone, it's wet, it's raining, or you're showering, you want to use your phone, it works while the water is still hitting it. Surprisingly, you can change your YouTube playlist, and overall pretty impressed with it. I still think the S24, at least for me personally, works a little bit better. Maybe just how I'm using it, or the S24, they do have a new fingerprint scanner on that. Maybe that is what make it a little bit more accurate, but well, OnePlus 12 is still really fast and efficient. The speakers on the OnePlus 12 is much louder than the Galaxy S24, so I have no issue listening to music or podcasts in the shower. When I have my Galaxy S20, I can tell that the speaker is much lower. The S24 is pretty loud as well, but the OnePlus 12 feels significantly louder in the shower. They brought back the IR blaster. I used it for one day and that is it, but if I have free time to watch TV, so I don't have to look for a remote. So just a neat little feature that OnePlus added. It would be cool if they added micro SD, but I don't ever think that's happening. It does have 12 gigs of RAM, which is more than the S24. S24 only have 8 gigs of RAM, and this one has 256 gigabyte of storage compared to the 128 gigabyte on the Galaxy S24 base model. So if you're comparing apples to apples, this phone is totally crushing the Galaxy S24 base model. It is, however, missing desktop mode, which I think is fine. I don't really use Samsung DeX that often anyways, but it's a nice to have. This phone is only IP65 water resistant, so splash proof. You'll listen to in the shower is okay, use in the rain is okay. I wouldn't dive in the pool with it, sit in there for 5 meters more than 30 minutes. That you would need the IP68. If you ever drop the phone in the pool or the toilet, it's gonna be rare where you ever need to encounter those situations, so I don't think it is a deal breaker by any means. Camera on this phone, I would give it a solid 5 out of 5. The OnePlus Open changed my mind about the OnePlus camera. In the prior years, I've always discounted them out, but overall, the camera has improved significantly and it will work fine for 95% of people. It even offers 120x zoom. So if that's your thing, you can just zoom in all you want. You want to spy on your neighbors and take pictures that are as far away, bridges, buildings. It is there. It is a digital zoom though, but it surprisingly works okay. I mean, of course, once you zoom in that much, it's going to be grainy, but depending on what you do, you might find a use for it. But even the regular camera, it has the 1x, 3x, all the way up to 6x. So much more than the Galaxy S24 base model, which only has a 3x camera. Of course, with the base model, with the Galaxy S24, there's always digital zoom. You can zoom in 10 to 30x or so, but digital zoom, the quality is usually not as good. So a lot of solid pictures from the OnePlus 12, whether you're doing a point and shoot or you're doing deep zoom. Quick snap is fine, video is fine. I'm recording this video as well using the OnePlus 12. And when I was plugging in the mic, I wish there was some indicator that it tells me the mic is working or that it's using the mic. I just have a USB-C adapter plugged into the phone as I'm recording this video. On Galaxy phones, if I'm using an external mic like this and I'm recording a video, it actually tells me I'm using the mic. That way there's feedback and confirmation. You don't want to record a 20-minute video and find out nothing is recording. I did go back and listen to the audio just to make sure, so mic should be working. Performance 5 out of 5 for this phone as well. It is fast, it's smooth, Android Auto works fine. You're getting the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, same thing as the Galaxy S24. The S24, they say it is tuned a little bit, so they might get some extra bump there, but day-to-day basis, you're not going to really notice any difference. Just scrolling around, speed, I don't notice any difference between both phones. And the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is a beast of a chip. And despite having a really powerful processor, this phone can get hot when I was using it in my car. The car mount that I have is a little clip thing onto my vent, and then the vent, when it's blowing out heat, it actually does make the phone hot. So you're driving, you have Google Maps on, listening to music, and for whatever reason you're recording a video, and like I was, just because I like to do day in the life videos. So I think most people are not going to be recording videos with their phone mounted in front of a heater, so you should be fine there. But while I was recording a video, it did turn up a few times just because the heat is blowing at it, the camera's making it hot. Even though it's a really powerful phone, there is some limitation and you can't push it to the limits. And when I'm using the fast charger cable, it does feel warm occasionally as well. Not that it bothers me, but if you do plan to keep these phones for the long run, just in general, heat and battery doesn't really do that well in the long run. I think it should be fine though, but just something that I noticed that once I picked up my phone, it did feel warm after charging it for about 20-30 minutes. Screen, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 as well. It has Quad HD, which the Galaxy S24 base model does not have. It has 4500 nits, like I mentioned earlier. It has 120 Hz refresh rate, but most high-end flagship phones have that these days. And the PWM, pulse width modulation. It is 5 times more than a Galaxy S24 at 2200 hertz. Galaxy S24 is about $493 and the Galaxy S23 is only $250. Basically, it's just a screen refreshing in the background, so you're staring at it for a long period of time. It wouldn't hurt your eyes or wouldn't give you a headache or anything like that. I never really noticed it in the past, but when I was using a Galaxy S23, my eyes did hurt after looking at it for a long period of time. For whatever reason, Samsung cheap out there. But they fixed that in the Galaxy S24, making it twice as much. But OnePlus just blows it away at 2200. That number is unheard of. So you don't have to worry about your eyes getting sore or anything like that, especially at gaming, staring at your phone for long periods of time, texting, playing games. Just a fun spec that I recently found out when I started using the Galaxy S23. In the past, people always talk about 120 Hz refresh rate, pulse width modulation. I think that's what it stands for. It's incredible in this phone and it's something that I do want to call out going forward. Alright, next category is updates. I'm giving this phone a 4 out of 5. When Samsung and Google Pixel are giving out 7 years of software updates, OnePlus is still lagging behind at 4 years of software and 5 years of security updates. For me personally, it doesn't really matter. I change phones so often, but if I was a regular consumer who's just purchasing one phone and don't like having to buy phones every single year, it's nice to have the full 7 years. Then I can use it that long if I want to. If not, then I can sell it or trade it. So with the OnePlus 12, you can't use this phone as long. But you know, this phone gives you the value of the Galaxy S24 Ultra at $500 less. So 5 years later, you can just go grab another OnePlus phone with that $500 and I think you'll be fine if you're due for an upgrade, since you're already getting a lot of savings up front. Value wise, I think it's a pretty obvious 5 out of 5. Like I mentioned earlier, you just get more with the OnePlus 12 compared to the Galaxy S24 base model. I know I've been comparing this whole thing to the Galaxy S24 because that is the phone I most recently used and it is the phone that OnePlus is going toe-to-toe against. And they are 2 of the newer phones that just released in 2024. But with the OnePlus 12, you're getting 3 times faster charging speed compared to the Galaxy S24. You're getting a bigger phone, a bigger battery, bigger screen, higher nits, higher PWM, more RAMs, more storage, just killing it in almost every single category compared to the base Galaxy S24. The only really downside is just the software updates. It's not as long as compared to Samsung, and it doesn't have all those AI tricks. Me personally, I don't really use any of those AI tricks, so it doesn't really bother me. But overall, if you're looking for 3 most important things in a smartphone, 3 most important things in smartphone is speed, camera, and a great battery. So OnePlus 12 offers all of those at a $800 price, which is a really good starting point for a flagship phone. You don't need to spend $1,000, so there's a lot of value here. The biggest downside of the OnePlus 12 is it is not in the carrier store in the US, and that is going to hinder them from succeeding, even though it is such a strong and powerful phone that is fun to use with so much promise and good things going for it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to succeed in the long run unless they have the carrier support in the US. Majority of people still go to the store to buy cell phones, and I think it's a big lost opportunity there for OnePlus not utilizing the carriers. I know they may not have the marketing and the budget to do that, but hopefully something that they can work out in the near future. Alright guys, so overall you are getting a 37.5 out of 40, a solid A for this phone. So it's not perfect, but it is pretty damn near perfect. Overall, had a really good time using this phone. Let me know if you guys agree with my assessment, what your experience has been so far with the OnePlus 12, if you're using it or what phone you're using today.
I'm going to give a shout out to my partner Mint Mobile. So for a limited time, you get $15 a month for unlimited plan. So make sure to sign up in the description below. Do not have to buy 3 months up front.
Alright guys, appreciate the time as always. Remember to like and subscribe. Please check out a few of my daily series on this phone if you haven't already. And see you guys in the next video.